Okay, my name is Clint, and this is Ashtanga Yoga. Thanks for coming. I'm going to cut the back end of the practice off a little bit. I brought this fascia gun in again, and I know there are a couple of yoga instructors here, but this is really helpful. And what it can do, it can loosen up your muscles way faster than doing regular stretches. And for me, after I do a 5 or 6 mile walk or a 4 mile real strenuous walk, my psoas and my glutes bother me. And if I don't really stretch my psoas, and think of, lunges, I get a pain in my lower back, right back here. And that's because the psoas is connected to the top of your femur, right on the inside here. It comes across the front of your hip. So it's right here in your hip crease. And that's what lifts your legs. And since you're all going to be standing here in just a moment, why don't you stand up? Put your hand right on your hip crease and lift the leg. And you can feel some muscles really working. Now those muscles go across the front of your pelvis and ties into your lower spine. When that psoas is tight, it pulls on your spine. Well, guess what? When we are on our iPads or phones, we're normally rounded, right? So to stretch back is painful. This little dude, you can, now this almost looks obscene, but this little guy, you can put right on your hip crease and just come down a little bit. You can be adventurous and go down a little bit farther, but that loosens up your psoas quickly. And then what I do, and this I think I've shown before, looks a little funny, but your hamstrings attached to your tibia, which is this big wide bone here on the front of your leg, that is the biggest bone in the lower part of your leg. And that's where most of your muscles tie in. And so your hamstrings go from the bottom of your pelvis, that is the bottom of your butt here.
Sit bone.
Yeah, your sit bones, down, and it gets, once it passes your knees, it's all tendon. But if you hit it with this vibrator there, and then just follow your way down. For me, it hurts when I get down close to the back of my knees, but it really loosens up. So if you are going to be doing forward folds, like you're going to be doing a lot during your vinyasas, that really helps. And what I found is that after I do my shoulder warm-ups, I do that, and then I can come over. And before I use that, boy, I come over and man, kind of getting down this far is really challenging. Now you notice my knees are still bent. That's because my hamstrings are not as loose as when I was my 9-year-old grandson's age. But anyway, it really loosens that part up. So these things, you see them on Amazon. They're almost all made by the same company, but with 30 different names. if you wait. I got that for $55, $60, something like that. Sharper Image has one for $175. It's the same thing. So just wait for a sale and see if that's something that you want to do. But anyway, I find it really useful. And if a couple of other instructors were here, I would be. So, okay. I'm going to start at the front of the mat again. Get your feet about hip width apart. Get your second toes pointed forward. Lift your toes, separate them wide, and let them come down onto the mat. Lift your chest high. Isometrically draw your feet toward each other, firing up all the muscles in your legs. And then take your upper inner thighs, rotate them towards the back, and then tuck your tailbone under. That tilts your pelvis back, giving your lower lumbar arch its shape. Then take your shoulder blades up towards your ears, roll them towards the back, shoulder blades kissing, and then just let them drizzle down your back. Put your palms face forward, if that's comfortable. Gaze off towards the horizon. And then one more time, lift the crown of your head, that's the back of your head, right over the top of your spine. Lift that up and tuck your chin in just a little bit. And maintain all those muscles. Breathe in and out through your nose. And then begin to add the bandhas, your mula bandhas, your pelvic floor muscles. Those are the muscles that you use to prevent urination. Those are your Kegel muscles that during childbirth were so important. And that begins to build some heat. With all your other muscles engaged, you begin to feel it. You might not feel it just around your hips. You begin to feel it in your chest, your arms, your legs. Now, add to it your Uddiyana bandhas. Those are the muscles of your lower abdomen, about halfway between your navel and your pubic bone. And that forces your breath to stay fairly high, to no longer do diaphragmatic breathing. And feel that heat building. And then begin to engage your Jalalahara bandhas. That's the glottis in the back of your throat, so that you can begin to hear your breath as you breathe in and out. Now, these bandhas are important to maintain your heat throughout the practice. It's really easy to get lost in a pose and forget about them. But try to remember as you sink into some of these poses to engage your bandhas. It will help you get into the poses, maintains the heat. And then on your next inhale, bring your arms out up overhead, palms together, and then let your arms float back down, reaching as far as you can, way out to the side, and then down. Inhale again, stretch really far, gaze up, and exhale, let your arms float all the way down. Inhale, arms out one more time. Gaze up, arch your spine a little bit, and then on your exhale, swan dive over. You can bend your knees a little or a lot to get your hands to the mat. And then over the next 5 breaths, on each inhale, see if you can straighten your legs. And each exhale, forward fold a little bit more. On your 5th inhale, come up halfway, gaze at that horizon. Exhale, forward fold. Just grab the back of your ankles and draw your chest towards your thighs, just for 1 breath. And then inhale, come all the way up using your legs, hands out overhead, palms together, and hands to Samasthiti, your heart center. Then exhale, Tadasana. We'll do that again. Inhale, arms overhead, swan dive forward, all the way over. And see how much your hamstrings and your spine have loosened up. Another 5 breaths here. Each inhale, try to lift your hips a little bit higher. Each exhale, try to forward fold a little bit deeper. And you can always grab the backs of your legs to help your forward fold. The crown of your head is attempting to get to the mat. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead, and hands to Samasthiti, and then Tadasana. Inhale, your arms overhead. Pause here, grab your left wrist with your right hand, bring the weight into your left foot, and slowly begin to side bend to the right. Bring all your weight into that left foot. So maybe your right foot is just barely touching. Push that left hip out. Try to keep your bicep over your left ear. Don't want to make this into a twist. Maybe you can gaze up at the eye of your elbow. Maybe not. Inhale, come all the way back up, weight equally. And then left side. And use your breath here. Breathe into that right side body. Help your intercostal muscles that hold your ribs together. Give them a little bit more space. Increase your lung capacity. Inhale, come all the way up. And then swan dive all the way over. This time, move your right hand to the center and inhale that left arm out and up into a side, to a twist to the left. And try to get your shoulder blades started. You can straighten that left leg and Bend the right knee. Engage your bandhas. And on your fifth exhale, lower that left arm down. Inhale that right arm up. Hear your breathing. And 5, exhale that right arm down onto the mat. Inhale up halfway, gaze at that horizon. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead, and hands to Samastitihi, and then Tadasana. Okay, so now we start. We're going to do 4 Nam A's, which is just one sun salutation, but we're going to stop like we always do to shock your shoulders in the first one, roughly 10 breaths, or it depends on how my counting is today. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank and hold here for about 10 breaths. You can let your shoulders hold you up and drop your chest down a little bit. Try to make your shoulder blades in your shoulders one piece. Shoulder blades kissing. Your gaze is down in between your hands, or just in front of your hands. Use your bandhas. And on your next exhale, come forward and all the way down. From here, inhale, up dog or cobra. And then curl your toes under. Lift your hips up and back into down dog. And walk out your dog. Slow down your breathing. Five, look between your hands. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. And hands to Samastitihi. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 more before we get to our Namaskar B's. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank and down halfway. Inhale to up dog. And exhale, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. If your heels are touching, your dog is too short. Three. And 5, look between your hands. Hop, step, or float. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. Hands to Samastitihi. And then Tadasana. Again, Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank and down halfway. Inhale, breathe to up dog. Exhale, lift your hips up and back to down dog. Draw the eyes of your elbows towards the front of the room. That also draws your elbows toward each other. And 5, between your hands, hop, step, or float. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. Hands to Samasthiti. And then Tadasana. I think we have one more, right? Okay. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank and down halfway. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, down dog. Stretching out your hamstrings. Pushing your heels down towards the mat. And 5, look between your hands. Hop, step, or float. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway, gaze at that horizon. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. Hands to Samasthiti. And then Tadasana. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 Namaskar Bs. We're going to start doing a regular one, and then we'll do the one where we're going to pause for 5 breaths in Warrior 1, and then we'll do a Humble Warrior and 5 breaths. So the first one's going to be increasing your heart rate. The second, you'll increase it too. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Okay. Inhale all the way back up. And then hands to Samasthiti. And then Tadasana. Okay. Have to get into my head. Okay, on your next inhale, drop your seat, raise your arms up into Utkatasana. Really reach for that ceiling. Tuck your tailbone under, lengthening your spine. You can come down a little bit more. Really reach up. 5, and on your exhale, forward fold over straight legs. Inhale up halfway, gaze at that horizon. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank. Down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And before you get to down dog, turn that left foot out. Step the right foot forward. And rise up to Warrior 1. Exhale, hands right back down. Back to plank. And down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right foot's out. Left foot steps forward. Inhale, Warrior 1. Exhale, hands right back down to the mat. Back to plank and down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And rescue for 5 breaths. Try drawing your chest towards your thighs. Slow down your breathing. In 5, look between your hands. Hop, step, or float. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway, gaze at the horizon. Exhale, forward fold. Listen carefully. On your next inhale, drop your seat. Raise your hands up with Kadagustasana. Continue to rise up. And then hands to Samastitihi. And then Tadasana. Okay, so we have another. On your next inhale, drop your seat, raise your hands up. On your next inhale, rise back up into warrior one. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank, down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right foot out. Step the left foot forward. Inhale, arms up to warrior one. And pause here for 5 breaths. Try to draw your shoulder blades together. And 5, exhale. Let your arms float down. Interlace your fingers the opposite way. The way that doesn't feel quite right. Push your knuckles down, chest up. And exhale. Humble warrior. Lift your knuckles up towards the ceiling as the crown of your head comes down towards the mat. And 5, release your hands, let them swing down towards the mat. And come right around to warrior one. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank, down halfway. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, hips up and back, down dog. Rest here for 5 more breaths. And 5, look between your hands, hop, step, or float. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Listen carefully. On the inhale, drop your seat. Raise your hands up, Badaknasa, chair pose. And then continue rising all the way up. Hands to Samastitihi. And then Tadasana. Okay, so now we start the standing poses. So with your feet hip width apart, and into Tadasana, hop your feet to the edges of your mat, facing forward. We're going to do Kadagustasana and Padmasana. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Grab onto your big toes with your peace fingers. Inhale, lift your chest up. Maybe you can gaze at the horizon. And then exhale, forward fold again.
Then using the strength in your legs, lift your hips up as you draw the crown of your head down towards the mat. You're getting a lot of stretch into your forearms, your wrists, your shoulders, countering those vinyasas. And 5, release your bind, inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead, and hands to Samastitihi, and then Tadasana. This time is Padmasana, putting your palms underneath the soles of your feet. So inhale, arms overhead, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, one hand at a time. See if you can get your toes to come all the way up to your wrist crease. Inhale, straighten out your spine, trying to come up. And then exhale, forward fold again. Just like before, hips high, crown of your head towards the mat. This really gets into your wrists and your hands. Slow down your breath. And 5, release your bind. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead, hands to Samastitihi, and Tadasana. Look down, hop your feet back to hip width apart. And now we have another vinyasa. And these vinyasas are merely to keep your body warm. So if you want to pause and not do it, go for it. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank. Come down halfway. Slide forward, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And rest here for 5 breaths. And then 5, look between your hands, hop, step, or float. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. And Samastitihi, and then Tadasana. Okay, now we have triangle and revolve triangle. So take a giant step back with your right foot towards the back of the mat. Your right foot's towards the back, the left foot's towards the side. And so from here, your hips are twisted just a little bit, just about right. Turn your chest towards the side of the mat. Arms out into T. Drop that front hip a little bit more. And then tip your triangle. Bring your right arm down somewhere along the inside of that right leg. You can always use a block to raise the floor. Get your shoulder blades vertical. That intensifies the twist. This is a gentle hip opener to start. And 5, inhale, rise all the way back up into T. Just rotate your feet towards the front of the mat. You're all set. So from here, drop that front hip, raise the back, and tip your triangle. Left hand down, right arm up. If you have a shoulder issue and that one arm doesn't want to go up, it doesn't have to. It can always stay on your hip or behind your back. And 5, inhale, all the way back up. Rotate your feet towards the back of the mat. This time, step that left foot in and maybe out to the side a little bit. Probably toes towards the front, but it doesn't matter. Turn so that your chest is towards the back of the mat, and then continue off towards the right. From hold and bring that left arm on the outside of your right leg. This is revolved triangle. Maybe that left arm can come up. Maybe not.
Right arm.
Right arm. Yeah, sorry. And 5. Inhale, windmill your arms all the way back up to T. Rotate your feet. Adjust your foot locations. Bring your chest towards center. And then twist to the left. And then begin this revolved triangle on this side. Right hand on the outside of the left leg. Draw that left hip back so your hips are more square. It's quite a bit harder. Your hips are just as important as your shoulders. And 5, inhale. Windmill your arms all the way back up into T. Turn to face the front of the mat. Step forward into Samasthiti. And then hands to Tadasana. Okay, another vinyasa. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank and down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And 5, look between your hands, hop, step, or float to forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead, hands to Samasthiti, and then to Tadasana. Now we have side angle. So we have that same step to the back of your mat. So on an inhale, step to the back of your mat. Bend that front knee, bring your arms out into T, into warrior 2. Check your form. And then bend that right arm 90 degrees, and then begin to tip, bringing that forearm to the middle of your thigh. And then bring that left arm overhead, reaching in one line from your toenails all the way up through your fingertips in the corner of the ceiling and the wall behind your front foot. Again, you want your shoulders vertical. On an inhale, straighten out that right leg, come back up into T. Rotate your feet, bend that left knee, and you're right here in warrior 2. Bend the left elbow, bring that left forearm to your thigh, and then arm overhead, and really stretch your right side body. Use that left forearm to help you bend your shoulders back to vertical. Your palm, your right palm, if you can, maybe it's facing the floor. And 5, inhale. Come all the way back up, arms to T. Rotate your legs towards the back of the mat. Okay, we're going to do prayer twist here. So come into a long, low lunge. Maybe turn your left toes facing the back of the mat. And then rotate your chest to the right side of the mat. Bring your hands together in prayer. And then forward fold, catching your left elbow over your right knee. And 5, release. Inhale, straighten your legs, come back up. Rotate your feet and adjust your foot locations towards the front of the room. Arms out into T. Rotate towards the left side of the mat. palms together. And then exhale, lower that right elbow over the left knee. And again, try to get your shoulder blades vertical. Your next inhale, come all the way back up. So look forward, then step that right foot forward into Samastitihi, and then Tadasana. Have another optional vinyasa. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank and down halfway. Inhale, up dog, or cobra. Exhale, down dog. And 5, look between your hands. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. Hands to Samastitihi. Okay, the next is Proserite. So from here, another giant step back with your right foot, but your feet are facing the sides of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift your chest high, gaze up, if that doesn't bother your neck. And on an exhale, forward fold. And as you come over towards the mat with the crown of your head, at any point you can bring your hands down onto the mat. You can adjust your foot locations. And 5, listen carefully. On your next inhale, come up halfway. Bring your hands to your hips. And then inhale again, come all the way up, using your elbows to help. Lift your chest high, inhaling. Then walk your hands towards the back of your hips. Draw your elbows toward each other. Inhale, chest high, and exhale, forward fold. Trying to keep those elbows as close as you can get to each other. Bring the crown of your head down towards the mat. And on your next inhale, use your elbows to help you rise all the way back up. Bring your arms out into T. This is Proserite C. So put your thumbs down towards the mat and bring your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Stretch your knuckles away. And on an exhale, forward fold. Crown of your head comes down, your knuckles go up. Slow down your breathing. Really lift those knuckles. And on your next inhale, use your hands to help raise your chest all the way back up. Lift your chest high. Bring your arms out into T again, palms down. And on your exhale, forward fold. This time your arms can come down onto your legs. You can grab onto your big toes if your arms are long enough. Make a line and draw the crown of your head down towards the mat again. And 5. On your next inhale, use your legs to lift your chest all the way back up. Hands to your hips. From here, you can heel toe your feet together, or you can just hop your feet together.
turn towards the front of the mat, step forward, and you're in Tadasana. Okay, from here, another vinyasa, and we'll go right into Dandasana from here. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway, gaze at that horizon. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to plank. Down halfway. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, down dog. And once you get to your fifth breath, you'll have options. You can jump your feet through to a seated position. You can lower your knees down. Just get into Dandasana. And 5, look between your hands. Hop, step, jump through, or come down. Now, Dandasana is not, none of these seated poses are resting poses. Every pose has a meaning and an objective. And one of them is to maintain heat. So as your legs are outstretched, push your heels away. This is stretching your hamstrings. And it's also stretching your feet. If your hands don't come down flat on the mat next to your hips, just move them back a little bit. But you want some weight into your hands, but you don't want your hips completely off the mat. Gaze at that horizon, stretch your crown of your head up, your spine straight. 5 breaths. And 5, release. Okay. Some of you may want to do the bump throughs. I will pay close attention. If you don't, you don't have to. But to do a bump up, cross your ankles and lift your knees high. Get your sit bones really close to your heels. That gets your center of gravity close to where your arms are going to be. And then I have short arms for my body size, so I'm using blocks. And then from here, on an inhale, well, you want to get your shoulders back and your shoulder blades kissing. From here, bump up, and then kick your feet forward. We're going to do Pashmitasana, A and B. So from here, raise your chest high, and then forward fold. Reaching for your toes with both hands, or the tops of your feet. Straighten-ish your legs as much as you can. This is a hamstring stretch and a back stretch. But you should be energizing your legs, your arms, and your back. And 5, release. Inhale, come all the way back up. And the next exhale, forward fold. Maybe you can make a bind across the bottoms of your feet or grab the outsides of your feet. Forward fold. You're trying to get your collarbones towards your feet, the crown of your head towards the far wall, and your gaze is right down at your mat or at your knees. You should be feeling this in your biceps as you're pulling hard. And 5, release. Inhale, sit all the way back up. Another bump up, cross your ankles. Bring them in close. Inhale, bump up, and then kick out. Okay, from here, bring your hands behind your hips. Bring your footprints onto the mat. This is reverse table. From here, tuck your tailbone under on an inhale and lift your hips up. We'll be here for 5 breaths, just like every other pose. Draw your heels towards your hands. Push your knees towards the far wall.
And lift your hips a tiny bit more. Your shoulder blades are kissing. And exhale. Let your hips back down. Another bump. Should you like to do it? Inhale, bump up. Your feet up. Now, those of you who haven't been here before or haven't gone through the bump ups, the bump up is step one, but the full vinyasa is you bump up, you rotate your hips, kick your feet back directly into plank, you do an up dog, a down dog, and then you jump right back into seated. So that will be next week. Okay, we have Janusasana. So start with your legs stretched out forward to the front, and bend your right knee, your right sole into your left inner thigh. Inhale your spine tall, and exhale, reach forward for the top of your left foot. Drawing your chest, your collarbones towards that foot. Notice how much farther you go, how much more effective this is, or apparently more effective. In 5, release. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Make a bind across the bottom of that foot. Three. Four. And 5, release. Right foot out to me. Let's stay here with this right foot. Pick that right foot up with your two hands and bring that right heel into that left hip crease. This is in preparation for Lotus. And if this hurts your right knee, don't do it. You can always put your foot back down by your inner thigh. From here, lift your spine tall and then forward fold over the top of that left leg. And this may be exactly the way you did it in Janu, but maybe not. You should have no feelings at all in that right knee. This is not a twisted knee exercise. And release. Inhale, come all the way up. Right leg out to meet the left. Push those heels away. And then bring your left sole to your right inner thigh. Inhale, spine tall. Exhale, reach for the top of your right foot. Notice if this is different than the other side. If you're predominantly right-handed and you have more muscles on the right side, this may be more of a challenge than on the other side. And 5, release. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Bind across the bottom if you can. You can always use a strap or a towel. With every inhale, see if you can pull any more. Every exhale, maybe you can pull forward a little more. And release. Inhale, come all the way back up. This time, take your left foot, your left heel into your right hip crease. And be aware of your left knee. That right foot should be flexed. Inhale tall and then fold forward. This may be different, maybe easier. You may have more pain, less pain in the left knee. Be observant, learn your body. In 5, release. Inhale, sit all the way back up. Left foot out to meet the right. Push those heels away. From here, another bump. So cross your ankles. Heels in towards your sit bones, knees really high. Inhale, bump up. Kick your feet out. Okay, so now we have Marichi. So for Marichi, bring your right heel up towards your right sit bone. You don't want that foot right next to your left thigh because you're going to forward fold towards the front leg. You can always grab onto your toes of your right hand, your right foot. Your right hand, inhale tall, and exhale forward fold. The object here is to try to get your knee into your right armpit, or your arm around your right shin. Again, it's your collarbones towards the left foot, crown of the head towards the far wall. Trying to keep your sit bones down. A lot going on. Release, inhale, sit all the way back up. From here, right hand on the right knee, right hand behind your hips, inhale tall, and then twist to the right. Maybe that left arm can come over the top of the right thigh. That's not necessary. But lengthen your spine. And 5, release, come back to center. This time, we're going to stay on this side, but bend your right knee and bring your right heel into your left, and your left knee. Bring your left heel to the right sit bone, and then bring your right heel back to where it was. So your right knee is up, your left knee is down. And this Marichi is, again, a forward fold. And maybe if your shoulder can come in front of this shin, you can take the left hand behind your back and make a bind with that right hand. It's more than a dream for me. Inhale your spine tall. And exhale, forward fold. Work hard to keep that right sit bone down. Maybe the left arm can come around behind your back. And 5, release. Inhale, sit back up. This time, left hand on the right knee, right hand behind your back. Lengthen your spine tall. And then exhale, twist to the right. And possibly your left arm can go all the way around that right leg. And you can take that right arm around behind your back and make a bind. I know it's possible because I saw a picture in a book.
I don't know how.
And release, come back to center, bring both legs out in front. And bend your left knee. And I guarantee this does open up your body more and more and more. So we're going to just do the same thing on the other side. Maybe different, maybe the same. Your body will tell you. Inhale, up tall, exhale. Forward fold, reaching for that right foot with your right hand. Maybe your left arm comes all the way around that left shin. And 5, release. Inhale, sit back up. Right hand to your left knee. Left hand behind your back as a kickstand. the most important thing in any twist is to lengthen your spine. So inhale tall and exhale, twist to the left. Whether or not that right arm can come over the top of that right thigh is irrelevant. It looks cool. In 5, release, turn back to center, leave your left leg where it is, bend your right knee, and bring your right heel next to your left sit bone, and then return your left heel. So your left leg is up, right knee is down. First one is the forward fold, so inhale tall, and then forward fold. And you may be able to determine or detect that with that right leg bent, you have more flexibility in that left side. Maybe you can make a bind here behind your back, but try to lengthen your spine towards the front of the room. In 5, release, inhale, rise back up. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind your back. Lift up high, twist to the left. And again, from here, you may be able to get that right arm around the front of that left leg, make a bind all the way around your body. In 5, release. Come back to center. Bring your knees or your feet all the way out to the front. And then cross your ankles, lift your knees up, heels together for another bump up. On an inhale, bump up. And then sit back down. For now, we're going to do Badaknasa Butterfly. So bring your soles of your feet together. This is another hip opener, but grab your feet right at your toes if you can. And maybe you can get your heels in close to your groins. Inhale your spine tall, and then draw your collarbones towards the front of the mat, crown of your head towards the far wall, knowing that your chin on your feet is not the target. You're lengthening your spine, you're opening your groins and your hips. Notice if your knees are drawn down by gravity, but keep up with the pressure from your arms pulling on your feet. This is not a yin class. In 5, release, inhale, come all the way back up. Pull your feet out so that you have a rough square with your thighs and your ankles. Going to do another Badaknasana, aptly known as Badaknasa B. Inhale your spine tall and exhale forward fold. Now you can grab onto your feet, you can bring your forearms underneath your ankles, whatever works best for you. And again, it's your collarbones towards the front of the mat, crown of your head towards the far wall, your gaze is straight down. If your gaze is right on top of your feet, that's good. If it's in the middle of your mat, that's good. But lengthen your spine. In 5, release, inhale, come all the way back up. One last bump up. So on an inhale, bump up. Kick your feet out. Now we come to Padmasana, Lotus pose. So Lotus is a real challenging pose, and this whole sequence that we've done has been to open up your hips little bit by little bit, starting with triangle, which is a real slight twist on your hips, all the way to Marichi. So the way you get into it is you take, and we're only going to do this on one side. So whichever side you want, and you can change your mind. First off, you can be in Sukhasana, just cross legs, and that is perfectly fine. That is what I did for 10 years. And then you can do half lotus by bringing a heel into your hip crease on the other leg. And then just crossing the other. And stay like this. And that's fine. That's great. And if you want to attempt to get into full lotus, you may be able to lift that other leg over the top of your other ankle. And at this point, the legs are in Lotus, Padmasana. Now the real Padmasana, you reach around behind your back, grab your toes. Grab your right toes with your right hand. Anyway, that's not happening here, at least with me. But from here, bring your arms out to the side and bring your hands around behind your back. You can make a mudra with your hands. You can grasp opposite elbows or opposite forearms or just hands. Really doesn't matter. But from here, lift your spine tall and allow your eyes to close. And for the next 5 breaths, begin to fold forward and follow your body's movement. See inside your hips, your arms, your shoulders, your legs, the sensations as muscles relieve some of their load to the adjacent ones. 4, you're coming all the way over to your maximum, and just pause there. And you can linger if there's a delicious spot, or if it's bad for you, back up. 7, 9, 10. Take about 3 breaths in order to rise all the way back up. And again, notice how it feels. And once you come all the way up, release your bind with your arms and bring the backs of your hands out onto your knees, palms up. You can make a mudra if you wish. Your palms can actually be on your knees. But again, lengthen your spine. Take the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Again, allow your eyes to close. And now you can be gazing off towards the horizon if you wish. You can bow your head. We'll be here for 10 breaths. Just observe. Be a witness of where your body is right now. 10. If you wish to open your eyes, you certainly may. Use your hands to help free up your legs. Bring them back towards the front of the mat. Bring your hands behind your hips. Push your heels away very gingerly, and then maybe wave your feet. They'll rotate your femurs in your hip sockets to help bring more fluid back in after your version of Lotus. And then when you're ready, come down on your elbows, all the way down onto your back. Lift your arms up towards the ceiling. And then lower them down on your mat. Reach towards that far wall. Stretch from your heels to your palms. From your fingernails to your toenails. Spread your fingers and toes and give them a wiggle. And then return your arms back down by your side or out from the side, preparing for Shavasana. Or if you'd like to do another pose or two that you were not able to do, you may do those now. Walk your feet out to a comfortable distance apart. Maybe press your heels away again and then just let your feet drift to wherever they want. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath in through your nose. Out through your nose. And take rest. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your space. Bring movement to your fingers and to your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently roll your head from left to right. And when you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones, drawing your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And rock again from left to right. And then come all the way over onto your right side and pause there for just a moment. Scan your body to detect any residual tension or stress that wasn't addressed during this class. So you can take care of that later this week. And then use the strength of your left hand, pushing the floor away, rise up to a seated position. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me this morning. Thank you for motivating me to get up early and do this challenging practice. Share the compassion and empathy that you practice on your mat with your family, your friends, and each person you may meet during the week. Namaste. My name is Clint, and this has been Ashtanga Yoga. Thanks for coming. And next week, you're going to have a treat. Yes, I'm going to be in Costa Rica.
Oh, you're good.
So, and all of you are invited.